Did you know the library is full of dirt? Join us this summer as we get the dirt, discovering interesting reading trails. There will be trails about pets, music, monster trucks, and more. Today's Get the Dirt is about violins and fiddles. Some people would think this instrument here is a violin. Other people would call it a fiddle. What do you think it is? Today, when we get the dirt about music, we will be getting the dirt about the difference between a violin and a fiddle. Do you know what classical music is? Let's look in the dictionary to get the dirt about music. We will be getting the dirt about the difference between a violin and a fiddle. You can find dictionaries in the 420s or reference section of the library. The student dictionary says classical means excellent in a traditional style, especially of music. Do you know what fiddle or folk music is? Let's look in the dictionary to get the dirt on what the word fiddle means. The student dictionary says fiddle means another word for violin. So why are there two different names for the same instrument? When this instrument is called a violin, it is typically because the musician plays classical music on it, like this. When this instrument is called a fiddle, it is typically because the musician plays music like this. What are some differences you can hear between the two songs I played? Yes, the first song I played was slower and more dramatic. The second song was faster and bouncier. Did it make you want to dance? Here's a classical piece I bet you're familiar with. Recognize this piece? Yes, it's Ode to Joy by Beethoven. You may have heard it called Joyful, Joyful, We Adore Thee at Christmas time. Here's a fiddle piece you may know. Did you recognize this piece? Yes, it's Oh, Susanna. The first book that we're going to read today is called What in the World is a Violin? It is written by Mary Elizabeth Saltzman. Let's look at the spine. Is this book fiction or nonfiction? Very good. The numbers tell us that this book is nonfiction. What in the world is a violin? Here's the table of contents. This will tell us what's on each page. What is a violin? A violin is a musical instrument. The main parts of the violin are the tuning pegs, the neck, the strings, the body, the bridge, and the chin rest. Here you can see the tuning pegs, neck, body, chin rest, bridge, and strings. A violin bow is a long stick with a strip of horsehair attached to it. The hair is attached at the ends of the bow. The ends of it are called the head and the frog. Isn't that a funny name? Have you ever heard of a violin musical instrument being called a frog? I know, it's pretty funny. The body of a full-size violin is about 14 inches long. Children usually learn on smaller violins. There are also electric violins. Electric violins can have different shapes. To play the violin player runs the hair of the bow over the strings. The violin player presses the strings on the neck to play different notes. Sometimes violin players pluck the strings with their fingers. Let's play the violin. Wyatt's violin teacher is Miss Evans. She shows Wyatt how to read notes on sheet music. Alexa is at her violin lesson. Her teacher shows her how to hold the violin. Madison just learned a new song on the violin. She wants to play it for her grandparents. John practices the violin. He is going to play in the school talent show. Alright, let's find which one of these on this page matches my violin up there. Good job, it is D. You can find more non-fiction books about violins in the 787 section at the library. Now, let's read a book about fiddle players. This book is called Passing the Music Down. See our fiddle player here? He's gonna wave, say hi. Passing the Music Down is written by Sarah Sullivan and it's illustrated by Barry Root. This book is based on a true story. Here's our special friend who's going to help us read the book. Passing the Music Down. Come August, with corn strutting high in the fields and tomatoes plumping out on the vine, folks get to be talking about tuning up and heading over twisty mountain roads to hear fiddle players and banjo pickers make music under the stars. They travel through the heartland, past cold factories and drifty towns, to the old, old mountains slumbering east of Tennessee. Come to hear a man, bent by stooping in the mines. Come to hear him lift his bow and set his spirit free. Play Liza Jane, shouts a boy from the crowd. Traveled clear from Indiana just to hear that fiddler play. With his hands gnarled from work, the old man lifts his bow, gives a nod to the crowd, and saws out a lick, passing the music down. Play some more? asks the boy. Then he strides up front, takes a seat beside the fiddler on a tall wooden stool. Know any of my music? asks the old man. The boy lifts his arm and plays, peg and all. His chest near to bursting with all that hope inside. It's pretty good, the old man says. Gotta start with a spin and end with a skid. Like a katydid in spring, the boy's heart dances. Will you teach me all your tunes? He asks with a gulp. Will you show me how they go? I want to play like you. The fiddler wipes his brow, takes a long, slow look. You ought to bring that boy to see me, he tells the young man's folks. Pay a visit to the farm, and we'll play some old-time tunes. Passing the music down. Rolling up the hollow through the early morning mist, the boy's father steers the car around two friendly old hounds. Been wondering when you'd get here, the old man tells the boy. Got a lot of things to show you. Hope you'll spend some time. They flip flapjacks for breakfast. They hunt ginseng in the woods. They pick runners from the garden. And when the work is done, they sit out on the porch. The old man tunes his fiddle, and the boy leans in close. They play Bonaparte's Retreat and You Piney Mountain, tunes older than the towns the boy traveled through, tunes as old as the mist and twisty as the roads. Passing the music down. Soon the boy and his family are putting down roots in the next county over from the old man's farm. On cold December nights they fiddle by the fire. Snow settles deep against the fence, and the boy settles deep inside the music. The old man shares his stories. They've become the best of friends. When the creek swells in spring and the rooster cock-a-doodles, they gather fiddleheads for lunch and mend fence posts by the well. Seedlings dot the garden when they fiddle down in Charleston. Bees nuzzle honeysuckle when they join up in Glenville. Frost stiffens hay bales when they teach out at Elkins. Their lives are stitched together in a quilt of old-time tunes, passing the music down. Life scoots along. The boy's back grows straight and tall. The old man's knees turn wobbly. He turned 90 just a few years past. Still, he tends the garden and plays music with the boy. Till one cold, frosty morning, just before spring, the old man's legs won't move the way they need to go. He can't lift a log from the wood pile to the fire. Can't make the journey from his kitchen to the porch. Sitting at his bedside, the boy holds his friend's hand, hums a tune low and soft all the way to the end. Sees the old man smile when he hears the boy's words. I'll do just like I promised. I'll teach folks all your tunes. There's always a part of you that'll always be around. Passing music down. Now the years have passed since the old man taught the boy. The young man plays his fiddle at festivals and fairs. Play Eliza Jane, shouts a boy from the crowd. Traveled quite a distance just to hear that young man play. The fiddler lifts his bow and plays the old-time tune. There's an echo in his heart as he saws out a rip. He hears the old man's voice in a memory deep inside. Play that fiddle, son. Gotta pass the music down. Some people passed music down to me, and now I am passing it down to you through this video. Did you know you could get a job playing your violin? You could play a violin in an orchestra. Or you could start your own fiddle band. You could write or teach violin and fiddle music. There are so many jobs and careers with violin and fiddle, so keep practicing. Last, we'll read a book about a girl learning to play a violin. It is called When I Grow Up, I'll Be a Musician. It is fiction. The author is Connie Colwell Miller, and the illustrator is Sylvia Baroncelli. My name is Emmy, and I'm learning to play the violin. I love to make music. When I grow up, I'm going to be a musician. Learning the violin is difficult. I have to practice a lot and listen to my teacher. Sometimes I get tired of practicing, but then I pretend. I am Emmeline Granger, first violinist and concertmaster of the Metropolitan Symphony. I have the most important role in the entire orchestra. I even have a solo. Today's performance is starting soon. Guests are taking their seats, chatting excitedly. They can't wait to hear us perform. The musicians are backstage. We make sure our instruments are ready. The brass and woodwind players warm up. We double-check each other's clothing. The musicians file on stage. When the musicians are in their places, the audience applauds. After a few moments, I walk onto stage and take a bow. The audience claps for me, too. As concertmaster, I tell the musicians when to tune up. I point to the principal oboe. She plays an A. All the musicians tune their instruments to match that note. Now we're ready for the concert. Then, the conductor appears and takes his bow. The audience applauds again. Everyone becomes completely still and silent. The conductor lifts his baton. We lift our instruments. With a flick of the baton, the conductor tells us to begin. Like magic, the audience hears all kinds of sounds: strings, brass, reeds, and percussion. Everything goes beautifully, even my solo. When the piece ends, the conductor's eyes are shining. He is pleased with our performance. All our practice has paid off. The audience gives us a standing ovation. When I grow up, I'll be a great famous musician. Maybe even one of the best. But right now, I know I have to practice, practice, practice. So, which type of music do you like best? Are you a fiddler or a violinist? Next week, we'll get the dirt about another instrument that's in the orchestra. Do you remember what some of them were? This book here that we read last week? Until then, be sure to get the dirt at your local library and enjoy some music as we close out today's Get the Dirt.